Okay, this is a bit like Tommy Meets continues. I'm down in Cork today and with two very well-known faces. I was just slagging them before we came on about they're both writing for national newspapers, farming newspapers. I was asking which one they prefer. I'm only joking. I wasn't asking that. I'm here with Peter and Paula Hynes. We're here in Arla, County Cork. Thanks for having me down, guys.
Pleasure to
Great
have
to have you
you.
on Farm, Tommy. Always a pleasure.
You're well known in the farming circles. I suppose for what you do here on farming, you're very active on social media. I think you're advocates is the word as well. You're very strong about the supporters of Irish agriculture. We'll get to that in a little bit. But first of all, I suppose introduce people to the farm here. What's the system? You're kind of a unit. You kind of talk together. So I'll go to you, Peter, first. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about the farm here?
So it's a farm that we expanded the dairy herd in 2015. Went from 50 cows to 180 cows. Something we've really focused on is genetics and driving the genetics of the farm, and we've made huge leaps forward in the last I guess 7 or 8 years. Our genetic gain is probably we've trebled the genetic potential of the herd, and really excited about the young calves and the young bulls that are born on farm now, and it's something we get great pleasure in looking back and looking at the leaps we've made forward. So I think it's like anything in farming, you focus on the goal ahead and you can achieve it. And I think in my mind is going to be the exact same with emissions. It's probably one of the biggest topics that ag faces across media these days, where my attitude is, well, look, I know I have a target to achieve. Just get down and do it, and look at the research, look at the technology, look at how we can tweak things on farm and remain, a sustainable dairy farm, but remain a flagship dairy industry right across the world. And I think that's what Irish dairy farming is.
I like the way you go local and then you go massive. Peter, straight away. I was listening to something and you mentioned it there as well, passion. And I walked around the calves here with you this morning. You're very passionate about calves, Paula, and the farm here. Talk to me about calf health. Here, what's the challenges? What are you, there's no farm has it all sorted. I would be fair to say no one has it all sorted in general. But what are the challenges you're seeing with calf health? What are the things you've been doing? As sort of, you're kind of that new entrant thing a little bit worn out. You're established farmers now, to be fair. So what's the lessons in calf health?
I suppose the biggest thing here was we went from 50 cows to 180 cows. So there wasn't enough calf housing. The first couple of years, we kind of just converted old sheds. Some of them were there wasn't enough air going in. Others were drafty. Then 2 years ago, this was an old silage shed, and we took out the old floor and put in a new floor. As you can see, it's a nice open airy shed, but then it's too cold in the evening, so we started using calf jackets on the calves, which I find hugely beneficial to them, because like even last night it got down to 2 degrees here. It was freezing, there was a wind blowing through, but like when I went in to check any calves, they were nice and cozy. We have another shed above. You can't get into it with a digger, so it's an older shed, so you have to go in and out constantly with the wheelbarrow. I find with calf rearing is do the simple things really well. The first one being get 3 or 4 litres of colostrum into the calf at birth. We invested it in, we have a mini milking machine there. We have I can never say the word, refractometer.
Yeah, that's a hard one, don't worry. The telescope, the small telescope.
I think that's after being hugely beneficial. Because we've learned, going back a couple of years now, we did have a few cows where the colostrum quality wasn't good enough, and it did affect the animal going forward. So that would be a big thing now. Dry beds, like
plenty straw there. I see you cleaning there. Yeah, I see you doing a lot of the work actually, Paula. So we won't put this mitt on Peter, but he was doing a lot of talking. You were doing a lot of the heavy lifting the straw there, but the straw is massively important, isn't it?
Hugely important. I mean, I say the girls to be, especially Chloe, to be allergic to me. I'm constantly, like if you see me for calving season, I constantly have the wheelbarrow, pike and a brush. The kneel test would be the big thing. If you can't kneel down in the bed, it has to come out. Like, there's nothing worse than hearing squelch. You're only, you're going to have pneumonia. The whole lot. So not dry bed, keep the calves warm, plenty water, plenty fibre. We start all the calves here on the Eclipse calf age. It's kind of like a TMR for calves.
Yeah.
I find they start tucking into it straight away. And obviously, last year we had huge problems with nutritional scour, and that's how we started using Precision Microbes. That solved a lot of problems last year for me. So having chatted about it over the winter, and of course now we've autumn calvers as well, just to
Add
add a bit of spice to life.
Yeah.
We decided that we were going using Precision Microbes on every single calf born in the farm this year. So everything gets 30 mils for 30 days. And actually the girls here on the calf feeder are going to stay on it until they're, well, there's Charlotte's there as well, but anything that's in this shed will be staying on it till they're weaned.
You introduced Precision Microbes, so for a change, I didn't say it first,
No.
right? But I'm going to come back to you again, Peter, just on the Precision Microbes, just a couple of things, I suppose, Paula. Why initially, because you started like a lot of people, I suppose, was kind of calves that were recovering from scour, nutritional issues. What did you see initially with those when you were using it at the higher volumes?
Like we had calves that couldn't even stand up last year from nutritional scour. The vet was practically living here for 2 weeks, every day dripping calves. And we'd seen something about the Precision Microbes on social, and we said, probably you, Tommy. And we said, we need to get some of this and try it. And like within 48 hours, there was this massive change in the calf. They were up, they were sprightly, they were flying around the place. It was a game changer for us last year.
Good.
This year, to prove the point, I'd say I've had the vet in twice, and one of it was for a cow. We had a cow with a twisted stomach, and I think there was one calf that had a really bad navel infection. But other than that, I had no vet out to calves. So I mean,
you're happy.
Very happy, because at the same time, I've healthier calves, and I'm saving. Like, vets are extremely busy this time of the year, and I do feel really sorry for them. So like, I don't want to be calling a vet out when there's something that I can invest in that was going to help benefit my calves going forward. And like, that has been a huge game changer here for us this year.
And I think just adding to that, like, it's for us managing calves here, it's about being ahead of the game, about being preventative. It is a cost keeping an animal healthy. I would prefer to put that cost into rearing the calf and not seeing the vet, because not alone are you keeping a healthier animal, but you're gaining a lot more performance in that animal right through it long term. And I think that's the big gain. And like Precision Microbes, we feed it to the beef calves, we feed it to Frisian bull calves. We're feeding Promax Gold milk replacer here, which also has immunity benefits, and it's a real it's an ideal balance for us, because it's of the protein and the fat levels in it. I think fat is crucial to young calves, especially in the springtime, where you see temperatures changing regularly. They need a higher percentage of fat, and I think the other thing we need to be mindful too is welfare. That that Frisian bull calf, it mightn't be worth the whole pile, but we need to move the calves off farm in the best possible health to give them the best possible performance. Johnny, there's those Charlie calves. We want a calf that goes onto a beef farm and is going to thrive, that customer is going to come back and say, God, yeah, I actually turned a few quid on that animal. I want more of those next year. And just looking at that pen of heifers, they are like 50% of those heifers are over 300 EBI. There's a lot of money sitting in that pen. Same with the bulls there. Like we've one bull gone into AI. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have another one or two going in. But they're high genetic merit animals, and we need to invest in how we look after those animals. So that's why we've kind of tweaked and changed things a lot more this season. Why we've gone so much more with Precision Microbes. And I think the other fine line too is that finding a happy medium between animal welfare and farmer welfare. There's going to be a lot of discussion on shipping calves out to Europe, about how long calves get held on farm. We can't wait for policy to say this is how long you have to keep a calf on farm. We have to adapt our systems so that we know, okay, we can keep a calf healthy on farm for 4 weeks, maybe for 5 weeks. We're going to have to tweak it as time moves on, and then get that calf off farm, low mortality rates, high levels of welfare, high levels of performance, but also knowing that our performance isn't slipping by not being overloaded with sick animals, and really getting to, and when you get to March there and
you're exhausted.
You're exhausted.
And
If you have every calf still on the farm, it can be soul destroying when you start seeing sick animals.
You brought up some really big things there. So before we move on to them, we'll do a little round on a few of those issues and a few questions on it. Basics have to be right is the key message, I guess.
Do the simple things right.
Do the simple things well, which is a key message. As a tool, Precision Microbes is delivering and you're happy with it, and I'm delighted to see that. And that's been very consistent. That's why I'm a little bit excited about it. I suppose then, that the bigger picture stuff around calves and welfare is an important thing. Welfare is an interesting one for me because I think it's almost, when you say it, it's become like some sort of a dirty word. Something wrong. And the vast majority of farms, I mean, the calves are looked after incredibly well. There was an argument that we expanded rapidly, calf housing wasn't adequate, but I think we are shifting back again, and we're seeing that every calf on the farm is important, and I've seen that myself, but there is challenges coming down the line. Okay, I know that you're two big advocates as well for ag mental health, and you have your own stories about that, and a lot of people will know about it, but I suppose what are the keys that you're learning here in an expanding system with all this regulation that you're looking up for your articles online and understand? How do you balance that with the busyness of the spring, knowing what's coming down the line, not being maybe, because a lot of farmers now will look at some of the challenges coming down the lines. You'll be dragged into the future, and you can spend a lot of time worrying about it. And sometimes you need to be in the present moment and what you're doing in the spring. So what are the tips and tricks that you've picked up yourselves over the years that maybe are of value to people around kind of, if you understand what I'm saying, kind of the, not getting too caught up. But we have to keep an eye on it, especially when you're writing an article for two different papers. But
you get the news on Tuesday first.
We won't start that conversation, and I won't edit this out. But like, what are the things? What are the tips and tricks you've learned? You're a very united couple. We were down having breakfast in the house this morning, but that doesn't all happen by accident. So what are the tips for farmers maybe in the middle of spring? Because this will probably go out in the middle of calving when there is calf diarrhea, when there is pressure on, and it does feel sometimes like there's a lot of external pressure. So what have you learned about that? Maybe it's a hard question.
God, I was absolutely dreading calving season this year. I was just
after last year.
I came through Christmas and I was like, I can't do a calving season. It's just too hard. And I booked 2 flights to Paris in April, and I was like, we've something to look forward to. We're getting out of town, kids, and we're going to enjoy life and enjoy a bit of nightlife and meet a few friends and things. And it was funny when the minute calving season kicked off. Then it's kind of like, geez, let's get this, let's get it on. I've enjoyed this calving season, and I look back to 2 months ago when I was absolutely dreading it, and I was kind of like, God, this is. We
had no break over the winter either because we had Becky's autumn calvers, so we had calves all year round,
which is a new thing for you.
Which is a very new thing, and I suppose last summer we were very busy with the girls going to shows. So like I had show heifers in, I had then the calves for the autumn. I felt coming into calving season I got no break at all. I spent the whole year piking shit basically, and I said, how am I going to do it? But it has been relatively very straightforward. Calves, everything seems to be calving fine on their own. We haven't intervened nothing really.
Are you still getting off farm for that kind of time?
No,
it is.
Well, we had
intense at the minute.
That is intense. We like Valentine's night. We have a little 1-bedroom cabin in the garden.
Okay, right. Well, we might edit that piece out.
Leave it in.
But like, we went over there for a bottle of wine and a chat, and we have a TV there, and we watch TV for an hour. But then, we have to go back now because we have to get up at 2 o'clock to go and check the cows.
It's a big TV too, Tommy.
It's
52-inch screen.
We did a breakfast date one Saturday morning.
Very good. So look, I suppose the thing is, I see it all the time, and it's an important message that it's a busy time of year.
Yeah.
Look after yourselves. Have things to look forward to.
Drink water.
Yeah.
As I marked finding is a huge thing because when you're getting your 8 hours sleep.
Yeah. That the lack of sleep is a big one.
Yeah, and drinking too much coffee is a killer for me anyway. So
guilty. Look, we're all guilty.
Yeah, but I find myself, instead of when I go up to make a cup of tea or coffee now, I'll go to the tap first and get a glass of water and drink that before I'd have the tea or coffee. And I think that's after really helping me this year because me trying to drink water now, I prefer to drink wine.
Keeping animals healthy.
Yeah.
And that's not a sales pitch now for Precision Microbes, but God, it takes some whack of pressure off when you can keep calves healthy. And And I think the other one, I was doing a talk for Drina Co-op in January on mental health at the Spring Dairy Seminar. And I always try to be realistic at those things. Look, sleep is crucial. But at the end of the day, spring calving is absolute hardship from a sleep point of view. And I think for each individual, it's about knowing where is your limit point. You know?
Okay.
When you know that brick wall is coming, when you're exhausted, get a friend, a neighbor, somebody to do a night shift so that you can get 8 or 10 hours sleep unbroken and get you back going again. And I know, like, I can do the month, 6 weeks flat to the mat, doing 100 hours every week, but I know the calm period comes very, very quickly. And like that, we have a breakaway in April, so I can get 100% away from the farm and just go and enjoy life with Paula.
Okay. I'm going to finish up quickly. Thanks very much for your time this morning. I enjoyed the chat and around, and I've seen what you've done over. You can see the progress in the yard, but you can see your passion. I'll ask you 2 different questions. I suppose I'll keep it local with you, and I'll go global with this. Like the big thing. Paula, what's the ambitions for the farm over the next 10 years? What are the kind of things you want to see? What's the success look like for the next decade for you here?
I think I want to focus more in on our breeding. I think we've come a long way since I started farming 8 years ago, but you know, at the end of the day, I want to be sustainable, and I want to breed a decent calf for the dairy or for the beef farmer as well. And I think we could, like, we had beef calves in January, and you can see there's a lot of beef calves here already. But I want to even streamline that more and just breed Friesians to my very, very best cows, and keep it at the 180, enjoy life, and do a bit more traveling.
Nice message. Now we'll go global, Peter. What's the ambitions? What do you like to see? I know you're an advocate and you're very passionate about the Irish ag industry. What does global success look for the Irish dairy industry in your eyes over the next decade? So we'll go from farm to global. And maybe national.
Global success, global and national, I'm going to go on this one. You know, and the emissions and sustainability of Irish dairy industry. I think we need to regain as a country the pride that we've always had in our dairy industry. We need to get behind farmers and encourage them to embrace every bit of science and technology to reduce emissions. I think at the moment we are being held back. That's not a political answer. The technology and the science and the research will get us to where we need to go, but we need to start embracing that now, and we need to, you know, I want in 10 years' time for the guy in Asia, for the guy in Africa, for the guy in America to still understand, and we've had a lot of them on farm here, that Irish dairy is among the very, very best in the world. And I mean, we've had years here when we've had 600 plus farmers on the farm, and they come in and they just find this a magical world of producing milk from grass and the welfare standards of having animals outside. And I think we need to, you know, put aside all the political differences, embrace that, drive it forward and protect it, because it is unique around the world no matter where you go.
Okay, good message to end on. There was a mixture of everything. We came to talk about microbes, we talked about calf health, we talked about huts in the garden.
52-inch TVs. Size matters, Tommy.
And we talked about, we talked about your future on the farm here and the bigger picture. Look, fair play to both of you. I know you can both be caught in the farming independent or the farm exam, whichever your choice is. Maybe you buy both. And you're very active online. So listen, thank you both for having me down here.
Tommy.
It was a pleasure walking around the yard, and continued success to both of you. And good luck getting to Paris. You're not that far away from now.
We're nearly there.
So, yeah. Okay, super. So, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tommy.
Peter, look like you're doing no work now. You know that, don't you? Huh?
Sure, people know that.